welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you my tips and tricks on how I cover up my under eye circles. I've had my under eye circles since I was like 12 and I've always struggled with concealing them because not all products work for me. I've tried a million different products, but these tips and tricks that I'm going to show you, these are my ride or die products, and this is how I cover them not in a day-to-day not every single day, but on the weekends or if I'm going out. These are the techniques that I've always used and have always worked for me. So if you want to see this look, then please keep watching. Okay, so the first step in our routine is moisturizing, under eye moisturizing. This is the Ginseng Refreshing Eye Cream to brighten and depuff, okay? This is the one I really like. You can also use the Clinique one. There's so many that you can use. The reason why we moisturize the under eyes first is because we don't want creasing during the day. It's not gonna make your under eye circles disappear, okay? It's just so you don't get creases during the day. Also, since we're gonna put powder under our eyes, it's gonna help with the moisture because powder tends to dry your under eyes. So the fact that we're moisturizing will help us during the day. Okay, so I'm gonna apply my cream first and then we'll head to the next step. Okay, now that we've moisturized our under eyes and also our lids, it's very important. I'm gonna do the second step, which is using a color correcting concealer. I don't use the orange one because for me it doesn't really work, and I don't think it does anything, but if it works for you, please go ahead and use that one. So I'm gonna use a pink one, well, pinkish one. It's like more salmon-y. And it's this one right here. I don't know if you can see. This one right here. This one is from Makeup Revolution, and this is the palette, Ultra Cream Contour Palette. And you can use this is the Ultra Cream Contour Palette, as you can see here. And you can use the one that's a little bit more like salmon-y. So I use a brush first. I'm gonna use a BH Cosmetics 130 brush, but you can use any flat brush you prefer. And I'm gonna go in with the salmon color. I don't use a lot because this is very thick. So I take a little bit and I put it on the back of my hand. And then I go on my under eyes. Okay, so then I'm gonna take my beauty blender. I wet it, and I'm just gonna pat under my eyes, just like that. So once we have the base, we put the under eye cream, and then we put some concealer that's salmon color. Now the second step is foundation. So I'm gonna use a foundation all over my face that's medium to full coverage, and once I have my foundation, then we go on to the next step. The third step that we're gonna do now is I use the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I'm almost out. The one in the shade Nude. And I mixed it with the Benefit Hello Happy Flawless Brightening Foundation in the shade 3, which is this one. I have the mini one because I'm still testing it out, but so far so good. So once you have your base, then you put on the concealer. I have three concealers here. I have the Born This Way Multi-Sculpting Concealer in the shade Light Beige. I have the L'Oreal Infallible More Than Concealer in the shade, I don't know. This is in the shade 329 Cashew, which is this one. And I also have the Huda Beauty Concealer in the shade Nougat. Why do I have 3? Because I wanted to give you options, okay? You don't have to buy these, you just have to buy the one that works for you, but these are the 3 that work for me. So I'm gonna take the L'Oreal one. This is very, very full coverage, and it is also matte. When I do a full face, I tend to use this one. When I just like to color correct a little bit, or I have to go to work, then I just use this one, okay? So whatever floats your boat. So I'm gonna take the concealer and add it on my under eyes. I'm adding a very light layer first. I'm gonna blend it out, and then I'm gonna add more. You always wanna work in steps. You don't wanna put a lot on and then, oh my God, you have too much on and then you have to start all over again. So work in steps. So I'm just gonna put a dot right here. As you can see, this shade is more or less the same shade as my skin tone. I'm not gonna use a bright one first. I'm just gonna use the one that's similar to my skin tone. A shade that's similar to my skin tone. And then I'm gonna take a flat brush. You can use this flat brush, a tiny one, or you can also use this one. So whichever you prefer. This is a BH Cosmetic one. This is the vegan paddle brush from XO, from XO Beauty. So whichever one you prefer. I'm gonna start using the bigger one, and I'm gonna move to the smaller one. The reason why I'm using a brush is because the Beauty Blender tends to take away some of the coverage. So first, I always use a brush, or you can even use your finger, that's fine. And then I'm gonna go in with the Beauty Blender, okay? So let's get started. With the Beauty Blender and work around the edges. So as you can see, my face is just one color, okay? There's no like highlighting or anything like that. In that case, I'm gonna take a lighter concealer and just put like 3 dots. Okay, so I'm gonna take the Huda Beauty Concealer in the shade Nougat, and I'm gonna put like just 3 little dots here just to brighten up the face. But I always want to use this one before, which is the same color as my skin tone, just because I want to like neutralize everything, okay? So I'm gonna do this with a Beauty Blender because I don't want it like super powerful on my face. So I'm gonna put 3 dots. You can use your finger, you can use the Beauty Blender, you can use a brush, whatever it's more comfortable for you, but I'm gonna use just the Beauty Blender this time. And I'm just gonna do one eye at a time because this one tends to dry really quickly. So I'm just gonna pat it and do the other eye. So everything is now covered, but we're still not done. We need one more step. The reason why I do these many steps because my under eyes are a little bit purple, but this is not the kind of makeup I do like every single day. I wouldn't you know, stay like 1 hour in the morning to do this kind of makeup. This is more of a full face, full coverage concealer and foundation. So I'm just gonna do this one time, and then maybe in the next video I'll show you a more simple one. But this is like full coverage, under eye, everything. Okay. So the last step is using a powder. I don't use just the translucent one. I have the one from RMCA. I just put it in this NYX pot, but this is the RMCA powder. I use a little bit of this, and then I also use the Bare Mineral one in Fairly Light number 10. This one right here. The reason why I mix them both is because this one has a bit of coverage. I don't want to use just this one because it has a lot of coverage. So by mixing them both, it gives a more natural effect. If I were to use just this one, it would be too cakey and just too powerful. You can also use the L'Oreal Infallible one, which is this one right here. This is a little bit too dark for me, so that's why I'm not using it today, but this is a very good option as well. Or you can use the Maybelline Superstay 24-hour one, okay? But always mixing it with the translucent powder, because this is for all over your face, otherwise it's gonna look way too cakey. So I'm gonna take a little bit in this cap, okay, and just mix them both. Okay, so once I've mixed them, right here, I don't want it to fall, but just like this, I take a beauty blender and I just pat it under my eye, okay? So first I'm just gonna take the beauty blender and pat without any product, just in case there's a little bit of creasing. And then I'm gonna take powder and put it under my eyes, looking up. Okay, now that we're done with the little concoction, I'm gonna put some bronzer, a little bit of mascara, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just put some mascara on, I did my lipstick, I put a little bit of contouring and some highlighter. Also, I used some setting spray, the Mario Badescu one. And yeah, this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed it. This is how I cover up my under eyes. This technique always has worked for me, so if you want to leave any suggestions or if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys!